my name is Joshua Keith, and this is theburningcoal.com, a website dedicated to God's glory, His grace, and our response to it. Today we're going to talk about being thankful for a revelation. And when we are referring to this, we are actually referring to the last book in the Bible, the book of Revelation. Notice what John says in the introduction. He says, "Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear, and who keep what is written in it, for the time is near." We may be a little intimidated by the book of Revelation because there's really a few different reasons. One being that it is a book where there's a lot of imagery, and as you go through, you're not sure exactly what's going on, and some of the images may not make sense, especially if you haven't studied them in the Old Testament before. But even if you have, what does it apply to? What does it match? What am I supposed to be understanding? We're not always sure. And another reason is because when people have been confused about such things in the past, it's led to many false doctrines. We see the idea of premillennialism, the rapture, and different ideas of the book of Revelation have really entered into the religious world. And so when we go to the book of Revelation, we may understand that those things are not true, but we're not really sure why, and we're confused about the book overall, and so we may decide just to ignore it. But that would be a mistake, because we are blessed to read the words, to hear the words, and most importantly, to keep the words. In the book of Revelation, we learn quite a few things, but just a few takeaways to be thankful for. First of all is the fact that we are in a battle. And the book of Revelation talks about all these difficult things that happen to the world. And as we look around today, we can see difficult things happening. We see wars, we see disease, we see sadness, we see suffering. If we're not careful, we may think that only applies to our time, but really it could be said about anything in the past 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, and so on. Things are difficult. But we need to understand that this is not how things are meant to be for all time. But in fact, there is a battle going on between God and between Satan, between God's followers and Satan's followers. And we need to be prepared to fight, to stay strong. And we also need to understand that God hears our cries. As we're going through the different sufferings, the different difficulties, even to the point of death, we need to understand that God hears our cries. One of the beautiful images is where God hears the blood of the saints at the altar. What's it referring to? About those who have been persecuted, those who have died for the cause of Christ. They did not die in vain. And God hears them like He heard Abel's blood crying out. And so God is with us. God hears us. He knows what we're going through. And ultimately, even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment, we should understand that God will deliver victory. And there is a very powerful passage depicting Jesus as a warrior. But it doesn't just show Him giving victory, it also shows what comes to those who have been on His side throughout the battle. We see what heaven is going to be like and how wonderful it's going to be in the presence of our God. And so we can take heart no matter the difficult things that we're going through, no matter how hard life gets. The book of Revelation is meant to be this beacon of hope that tells us about what's to come. I hope this lesson blesses you in your walk in His kingdom.